give you a little information. I have a project going, but first I wanted to explain something and show you. You know, there was the other day, and the lady did figure out what she had been doing, but I wanted to show you. This has a designer pause. Now this designer pauses are red. Okay, so that's a designer pause. Now another thing that you can see on your screen, and this happens, and sometimes I'm working and I forget that I have end snap or I have grid snap turned on. You just click that and it'll turn on the grid snap. You click this, it'll turn on the end snap. Press the E key, it'll turn it off. Press the G key, it'll turn on the grid. Press the E key, it'll turn the end snap on. But here's what I want to show you. When you have the end snap turned on, I'll select this pattern and right click and do a relocate. I'm going to shift selected to one point. Now look what happens. See, this is end snap, and it looks the same for grid snap. I'll just turn on the grid snap, turn the end snap off, turn on the grid snap, and it'll snap to a grid. So they're the same color. Turn the end snap back on. Now I'm going to shift this pattern to this location up here where the needle is sitting. So I want this end to go there. It says click on a known point. Well, the known point is right there. I have the end snap on. Click it. Click yes. It moved that pattern right up into position where the needle was right there. If I have stitched this, I'll toggle that as sewn. And let's say I decide I'm going to toggle this as sewn. So your point here is if I wanted to move this into position, I could right click, I could select this, right click, relocate, shift selected to one point. Now I want to move this point to the point where the needle is located. Click yes. And there it is, you see. It moved it right there, and it should be connected to that area that has already been sewn. So that's a good use of using the end snap. But now you have to remember, when you use that, you need to be careful, because it can cause you problems if you don't forget or you don't remember to turn it off. If you forget and leave it on, you can have some weird things happen. So that's an explanation of that. Now here's what I want to do now, is I want to show you, I have gone over here, I have set this all up, and I put in these border patterns. I've actually quilted. I have actually stitched these patterns. Okay, so what I think I want to do is I want to show you how I set all of this up. You know, I'm going to do some rearranging and get rid of some things. I have placed 3 boundaries in here, and I will use this pattern right here, Annie's garden border, to put in there. But what I want to do is I want to know how how far is it? How wide is this? So I'm just going to measure it. I'll go Alt-M and use the mouse to measure it. I could measure it with the head, but to go to there, and it says it's 49.44. So I'll go down, get this pattern. I've got it selected. I will go to Repeat Patterns, and I'm just going to place this on the screen, and I'll put in the width of this, total width. I'll just right click and then click on that number, and it places it right in there. Click OK. It's going to put it on the screen, but that's no big deal. I'm just going to pick it up and I'm going to move it right over here into place. Hold down my Control key so I get rid of these, and I just want to place that in really as close as I can get it in there. Now, here's something I want. See, this starts up here and it's going to end up there, but I want the start to be down in this corner, so I will flip it vertically and just make sure it's adjusted. That looks like it's going to quilt out okay. I may want to move it up just a tad. What I think I'm going to do is get my end anchors, and I don't have the grid or the end snap turned on, so I'll be able to move this. It's going to move this end up just a little bit and move this out. Okay. Now you say, what about these sides? Well, I'm going to go ahead and place some patterns on the screen. I have my little calculator here, and these borders are about 3, and there's going to be about 3 1/4 inches, and I'll measure that with my little tape measure. So they're about 3 1/2 is what I want that. So that'll be 7 inches. 3 1/2. 7 1/2 is what I want to deduct from that, I think. So this quilt is 73 inches long. So I'm going to take 73 and subtract 7 inches from that. $66. Okay, so 66. With this, I'm going to put this down the side. So I'm going to just click on Repeat Patterns, put in a total width here of 66. And I'm also going to tell it I want 2 rows. I'll click OK. Okay, there they are. This is the, I'm going to select this row and get my side anchors. I'm going to move it, and I want to rotate it. Rotate it here. Okay, I rotated it around like that. I'm going to place it just out over here. Get this one. I'm going to rotate it one time like this. Escape. But I'm going to bring this over to the side. Then I get this first repeat and move it into place. hold down my control key so I can see. I'll zoom way in so I can see what's going on. And I want to be able to see this bottom and get this into position. I want it to be right in like that. Okay. Fairly close right there. Now I'm going to turn on my end anchor boxes. Move this over. That looks good. Now here's the thing. I want this to be connected up here. So I will select this, get my nodes, do some dividing. Okay, I'm going to divide it right there. Hit the D key, put my cursor over D key, divide it here. I want to get rid of that stuff. And I can just move this. Actually, what I need to do is just delete this. Then go and get this one. But now I'm going to have to get a node so that I can divide it again. And there should be a node right there. It'll work. Divide it. Now I can just get this and bring it down. Turn on the end snap. There it is. And now turn off the end snap. And if I want to, I can kind of reshape this a little bit like that. Okay, that'll work. So I'll do the same thing now with the other side and put this all in place. I'll get the first repeat here. You notice how I arranged this so that these end parts were all in the same location so that they could be connected. I'll take and get the side anchors so I can move it. Hold down my control key and get those out of the way. Move this over. Zoom in. I want this to where it's going to be fairly close right there. And make sure that it's inside the boundary. And again, I'm going to get my nodes, divide this thing here, and divide it right there. Get rid of this part. Get rid of that. Come back and get my, this will work. I'll just use the end anchors and end snap and put that together. Then I'm going to get nodes, and I'll maybe want to reshape this a little bit, but there's not any nodes there I can work with. Okay, I can probably work with this a little bit, and I'll change that to where it works a little bit better, because I don't really like that well. But for the time being, that's all I'll need to do. Now, this is all set. You understand, this is all set. I've already quilted this out. So I'm going to toggle these as sewn. Okay. Now, I went and worked on the blocks. I have several different blocks over here that I have worked with. This quilt has a little, it's a 2 by 3 blocks. There's 2, 4, 6 little squares right there. Then in this row she separated them, put 3 here, then that little 2 by 3, and then 2 over here. And I've placed patterns in there. And I'm going to show you how I went about doing that. Now, I have all of these are the same, and then there's 3 patterns here that are the same, and then 2 patterns here that are the same but different than that. So how did I do all of this? Instead of going and doing anything new as far as you know, I'll just show you real quickly how I went about placing the patterns in there. I'll go and find this pattern. Okay, that's it, P2P flower 2. And what I'm going to do is take and get rid of these because they're already stitched. But I'm going to get rid of these. Well, I'll wait a minute before I get rid of those. I'll show you how to put these in. Now it's a P2P and it's on point, basically. So here's how it works though. If I use that on point pattern, I go over and get my P2P icon and click the first point, go diagonally across this block, and then diagonally lower left, upper right across the next block, then diagonally upper left to lower right across the next one, and then lower right to upper, or lower left to upper right across this block, upper left to lower right next block. Well, these are P2P, and see what my idea is. I want to stitch these continually, and I don't have to have tie-offs. So that's in there, and I've stitched them, and that's how you put those type patterns in place. So I'll get out of this. I'm going to toggle these as sewn. Now these are different, and I'm going to go and find this pattern here. This is the okay, going the wrong way here. This is the Bell Curls, the Bell Curls right here is the one that is right there. So this is a Lori Thomas. So I'm going to take these out. Take these out. Okay, I'll show you how I put these in. And now the start and end of these are at the bottom corners right here. I'll toggle this as unsewn, and you can see it. See, start and end, and that it's the same with this one. Toggle this back as sewn. Go and put these patterns in. So all you do is click the corners of the blocks. Get my P2P icon, and I'll just click the corners of these. Just make sure you carefully hit the corners. Okay, I have these 3 in. I'll skip this little 2x3. I'll hit stop because I have to go and I have to get my other pattern. Get this one, get my icon. Hit the corner of the block, lower left, lower right, and and lower right again. I have those two patterns in place. Now, see, I've set the setup so that these will sew continually. These three will sew and then tie off, and then these two will sew and tie off. So I will toggle everything is sewn. And this little cross hatch I put in this, I'll get my geometric line and my P2P icon, and here's how I can do those. I start at the upper left, and I'm clicking these diagonals. Okay, see, I ended up in this upper right corner. I started in the upper left corner, and here's how it works too. I hit stop. Now if I go in this lower right corner here and go across these like this, now I have all the patterns in there to stitch that out. It will start, stitch here like this, tie off, then I come down here, go this way, and tie off. So that's how I put those in. Then I'll go to repeat patterns. I need the patterns for this area right here and this area. I'm going to use this P2P diamond, and I'll go to repeat patterns. I'm going to change it to start point, and I know that it's going to be 66 inches. And I also want to do 2 rows because I want to have a row for the left side and the right side. My angle is going to be 270. That's 270 goes down this way. Change my angle. Okay, and it's going to put two rows of that on the screen. I can select this left row. Move it out of the way here like that. It's going to start there with that one. Move this over to that side. And what I'm going to do now is just get right here. I think that's about all I can quilt at one time. So I'm going to grab this, move it over in place, move it up there, and let me see. I believe I can quilt a little bit more. Let's see if I can get. I'm going to go ahead and do. I have this pattern in place and adjusted. I'll stitch that out, and I'm going to put a pattern in here and stitch it. I need to get my patterns for this area, and this is 2 inches, and there's 2 inches at the bottom, so that's 4 inches. This is 66 inches top to bottom, and this is 66. So that means this is going to be 62. So I'm going to go over here and I have my pattern. Got to go to repeat patterns, and I'll start make this start point. Doesn't really matter, and I want to put in the total width, 62, and I want the angle to be 270. And I need 2 rows because I have one on the left and one on the right. So I'll go ahead and do 2 rows here. Click OK. It'll put those 2 rows on the screen, and I am going to try to select this 1 row here and move it out of the way so I can start moving these in place. I'm going to move this right, I guess right in here, and get the other one, move it over on this side, right there. I need to see how many of these I can stitch out. Probably, probably can stitch out, maybe move this over. Okay, scroll in so I can see. Move this, put that right up there. Okay, can't stitch that one out. I'll just select the rest of these and move them, get them out of my way. Didn't get all of them. Move them back over here. I need to get that one. Move it over here. Okay, I can stitch out these. So I can do 4. So I will get 4 of these. And move them into place. A lot of adjusting. Okay, ready to stitch that out, but I have to move these in place. And I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can do, and I need to divide this, divide it. Get my node. I want to divide. Divide it again. Combine. Okay, I'll just get my side. Scroll in so I can see. Hold down the control key. Get this up in place. And if I need to, I'll get my end anchors. That's easier to work with. Okay, I am ready to quilt out a bunch of this. Okay, all of this I want to be sewn. And also all of this. Kind of get it where I can see all of it. Sewn here. Okay. Now I'll just let it quilt away. Everything has been quilted except for this. And since I have this already, I'm going to select this, rubber stamp it. I'll just hit escape to close out this. Grab this, move it right down into position, and I will have to over here, and I will have to divide this. I think I'll just divide it right here at this point. Hit the D key, divide it. Now I'm going to get rid of this stuff. Get rid of that piece. Select it. Get my side anchors and move it back into position. Grab that, move it back into there. And get my end anchors here. Hold down the control key so I can see. Just like that. Go and check the other end. Get the side anchors again. See if I need to. I think I want to expand it a little bit. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'll just have to let it go like that. Okay. I'm going to quilt this out. Okay, I have this much finished, and there's another one of these right down here, but I can't get to that. This row of blocks is quilted, this row of blocks is quilted. As you can see here, see those are two rows, that's that deal between. And I think this is enough for this recording, and maybe I'll continue tomorrow with some other ideas.